morning. My name is Ed Romaine. I'm the supervisor of the town of Brookhaven. We're standing in front of the Ronkonkoma train station, which is one of the busiest train stations on Long Island. We're here to talk about an action that the MTA took on the 26th of February, where they raised all the rates, not only for trains, buses, subways, and tolls, making it harder for the average person that lives on this island, that work in the city, to commute. I am an advocate of public transportation. I'd like to see more public transportation and less auto use. But you cannot imagine what it means for someone getting on this train who works in the city of New York to be told that they now must fork up almost $300 more a year to travel to the city of New York. We should be encouraging and incentivizing public transportation, not discouraging it. And the same is true for subways and for our buses, and for our tolls. So with that, I am joined in this. This is not a partisan issue. Republicans and Democrats that I've talked to on Long Island all agree on this issue. And we're going to have some of the ladies and gentlemen that work with me on a daily basis come up and talk what their constituents have told them, and that we are united in our efforts to encourage public transportation. I'm going to start with our County Comptroller, John Kennedy. John.
Well, good morning, Mr. Supervisor, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Let me lend my voice, my loud voice, in opposition to this fare increase. It is an unconscionable money grab for the men and women who get up every day, go to New York City to earn a wage, to live here in our county. It was just last November that I had the opportunity to talk to many of the men and women in labor who leave this train station at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work in the city to make a living. And here we are yet again going into their pocket, grabbing more money for less service. And that does not acknowledge the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that this county sends to the MTA through index numbers, through recording fees, through almost every aspect of transaction with government. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is just another example of a board who's unwilling to get its own house in order and who wants to perpetuate the rampant spending. It's wrong. The board should reconsider. They should roll back the rate increase, and they should give these riders a rate decrease. And we'll continue to talk about that going forward. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. If we had a banner, it would say, roll back the fee increase. But we have our state senator, Senator Monica Martinez, who's been a tremendous advocate for her constituents.
Thank you.
Senator.
Thank you, Supervisor, and thank you, County Comptroller, for joining us here today. And today is a great day to have this press conference. We are holding hearings today regarding the Long Island Railroad, MTA, everything that encompasses our transit system. And I think it's important that we come together united. This is not a partisan issue. And from what I've heard from my constituents is this is not fair. We keep getting taxed, we keep getting fares increase, and the further you live out here on Long Island, the more that you pay, and that should not be. I'm a strong advocate of making sure that public transportation is funded, but we also can't do it at the expense of our taxpayers. And I think the MTA should reconsider their decision, roll back that fare hike, because our members here in our county, in our town, cannot afford what is taking place. Supervisor, thank you for holding this, and I look forward to our continued partnership. That's fine.
All right. Doug Smith, our Assemblyman.
Assemblyman Doug Smith, I represent this area. Welcome to the heart of my district. And if you look around at the properties, we're trying to encourage development here at the Long Island Railroad. But unfortunately, young people on Long Island cannot afford another rate increase. $300 a year on top of the already high cost of living is unacceptable. And I'll tell you, as the youngest member of the state legislature representing this proud community here on Long Island is not the ATM of the MTA, and we're going to join together and fight that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you saying I'm not young?
Assemblyman, Mr. DeStefano, one of the newer members of the State Assembly. Joe, go ahead.
Thank you, Supervisor Romaine, and I want to join my colleagues by stating that this is unconscionable. Which pocket are you going to pick next? This is just something that we cannot stand for, we cannot tolerate. We're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that these increases are rolled back in some way, shape, or form. We are, as the supervisor said in the opening, this is a bipartisan issue. This is not something that is one side or the other. We all live on Long Island. We all have to commute to work every day, and we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure that the MTA hears our message that we're not going to balance the budget on the backs of working people that live here on Long Island who have to commute into the city and really have no other way of getting there sometimes. A lot of people don't have cars. Why do we tell them that they have to pay more to get to work every day? It's not fair. Their deficiencies are not our problems. They need to get their fiscal house in order before they start balancing the budget on other people's backs. So I stand together with my colleagues here to make this work for us, and we're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that this is rolled back. So I thank you for your time, and I hope that everybody stands with us.
Thank you. Thank you. And of course, today is the MTA. We have our county legislator, Rudy Sunderman, 3rd District. Rudy.
So thank you again, County Legislator Rudy Sunderman. Again, $300 rate increase per year, not fair on the backs of our residents and our hardworking men and women. But I'll tell you, $300 rate fee. Go out to my Mastic Shirley train station. I've been fighting since I've been elected. Go look at the conditions on my train station. How dare them raise the rates when you go out and look at my conditions on my train station. So we're going to fight. I asked the MTA to reconsider the rate fee. So again, thank you, and I can appreciate all the hard work. Thank you.
Thank you again. We also have Bob Martinez representing, and I'll let you say, Bob. Tom Muratore, Legislator Tom Muratore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, Senator, Mr. Comptroller. Greetings from Legislator Tom Muratore. Welcome to the 4th Legislative District. The legislator has asked me to say some brief words. As taxpayers, as ratepayers, we are being pummeled into oblivion. It's time that you who are viewing this press conference call your local elected official, whatever line you get on, and implore them to please get in contact with their MTA official to stop the hemorrhaging that is happening here in Suffolk and in Nassau County. You wonder why New York leads the country in mass exodus. This is just another pinnacle reason why we cannot stand for this type of tax increase. Tax increase, pure and simple. Just like the fee increases, pure and simple. We are driving our young people away. We are making it more difficult for us, our seniors, to stay with our children. And I just ask to please make that call. Engage your elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank again all my colleagues for coming out and see if there's any questions that we can answer. I can tell you this was put together on short notice. If we had longer notice, every elected official, regardless of party in Suffolk County, would be at this station talking for their constituents, for the commuters, because the increases are coming one after another, and we cannot afford increases that go well beyond the cost of living. So questions for any of us? No questions. I want to thank you for coming. I think our message is very clear. Roll back the rate increase. Roll back this rate increase. Roll it back for the trains. Roll it back for the buses. Roll it back for the tolls. Roll it back for the subways. Make public transportation affordable. Let the working man and woman have a shot at a decent life. Thank you.
Can I ask one question? I just have
Sure.
one. The congestion pricing that Governor Cuomo has suggested, will that trickle down to Long Island Railroad?
I have taken a strong stance on that.
Can you go by the microphone?
Thank you. I have taken a strong stance on that, as well as my Long Island colleagues, that with the congestion pricing, if nothing comes back to Long Island, whether it's on transit or buses, whatever transit system it may be, if nothing comes back to Long Island, we are not supporting congestion pricing.
So we have to have our slice of the pie.
Wait,
Yes.
I have something I want to add to that.
Yes, please.
I attended the MTA hearing a couple of weeks back, and one of the senators asked, what's the charge for that? What do you guys? They don't even know. They don't even know what the amount is that they're willing to charge the people that are going to be affected by this congestion pricing. So how do you know what the budget's going to be? How do you know any of these things? But yet they're gonna do a rate increase on our people, but yet they don't even know how much they're going to charge for the congestion pricing. How do you formulate a budget without knowing what the income is going to be? I just don't understand that. That's why I said they need to get their house in order before they start affecting us by all of these these surcharges and extra fees and rate increases. They need to worry about what they're doing first before they come down on the poor working women of Long Island. So the answer to that question is there is no answer, because they don't even know what it's going to cost to charge.
Governor Cuomo yesterday proposed that question and said, well, we have to see what time of day and all these different things. And I just think it's another cart before the horse yet
Absolutely.
again.
And what I'd like to add to that, I think I joined my
to find out what's in it.
I would like to join my colleagues in opposing congestion pricing. It's nothing good for the people of Long Island. It will definitely hurt my constituents. And as far as this goes, we're in budget negotiations right now, so I think my colleagues will join me in keeping that out of our state budget. We're going to be asking the governor, do not include this proposal in the state budget. It should be debated and looked at outside the state budget. So thank you.
And my state colleagues know it'll impact businesses as well. We have many, many suppliers out here on the island. All the agricultural East End producers will bring produce and different product into the city. There's been no mention whatsoever about what the impact is going to be for commercial transactions and commercial transit back and forth. It's not thought out, it's not vetted, and it's not timely. Not right, not now.
Does it seem like it's just something that's to benefit the New York City and, the heck with everybody else? Is that, do we have a feeling is that, how it's going?
I think, we're getting a little far afield. This press conference, we're together, united against the fare increases that the MTA has done. As far as congestion pricing, that's a collateral issue that will be dealt with separately, and I'm sure people in the state have different thoughts on that. All I would say is, right now, there is no slice of the pie for Long Island, and that has to happen before anything happens. So let's go back to the issue. Issue for us today, the issue is clear. We oppose this fare increase on all forms of public transportation, particularly the Long Island Railroad. That's this press conference. I'm sure that the gentleman from the state can get together and have another one on congested pricing. But right now, I want to focus on the rate increase, because that's the issue before us now. That is going to make this island immediately far less affordable and drive more people out of Long Island. We've already driven out Amazon. We won't go into that, because again, that's a collateral issue. This is about fare increases that we're opposing. Thank you.
So,
any other questions?
Yes. So, is there any proposal on where the money should come from? Because everybody's complaint is that the LIRR doesn't work, the MTA doesn't work in general in the city. You're saying roll back the fares on each of these. So, how do you fix the subway? How do you fix the railroad? Where should the money come from if it's not the fare hikes, is what I mean?
I think the governor made a reasonable proposal that New York City needs to pay for the New York City transit system. Currently, New York State is paying 75% of the New York City transit system. New York City's paying 25%. The governor has put in something that I think we would all agree with here, that it should be 50-50. New York State cannot continue to subsidize to that degree the New York City transit system, and by definition, we should take that money and put it into Long Island Railroad and busing out here.
And if you don't mind, I think the general consensus here is that we just want Long Island to be recognized and that we also deserve our fair share. You always hear that. And we need to make sure that funding comes to Long Island. We need to make sure that Long Island is not cheated out of anything. And I think that's the overall consensus that we have here on Long Island, is that we need to protect Long Island regardless of what goes on in the city. The city is its own entity and we are our own. And we need to protect our Long Island.
Any more questions?
If not, thank you again for coming. I know it's cold. We appreciate it. Thank you.